So the project has gotten to the point where we need to, well, we don't need to do anything, but I want to modify my grass tufts. And I also have been promising you that I'm going to show you how to use this Flockbox. And you know, I shock myself a couple of times, and I want to make note that I spray bottled that thing with water, and you saw me do it on camera. You will see me do it on camera, and I shocked myself. It was no big deal. So there's that. But if you get yourself a Flockbox, everybody talks about if you got a pacemaker, maybe you should consider wearing, you know, gloves, like, you know, dish soap, or the dishwashing gloves. I don't know, pair of rubber gloves, something. If I had a pacemaker, I'd listen to it, but I don't. I'm just naturally dumb. Our goal for the grass tufts is to give them some dead growth up top. Kind of make it look like this is the end of the year. So I'm just really testing this out. And, you know, I've never done this before, but I've seen a couple of people do it. So this is a first try. It's not a how-to. This is a review. This is what we're doing. Like, let's see how it gets done. Shall we? So I grounded the sifter properly and put the green cable onto the mat that my grass tufts come onto. Now, this might cut the circuit out a little bit. I don't know, but I sprayed the sheet with water, and I'm going under the assumption that this is still good. Well, after the fact, when I looked at these mats, everything's pointed up in the air the way it should be, so I have to think to myself that it worked. Of course, like I said before in my last video about the Flockbox, I'm using the 12-volt power adapter that I have for various other products. You know, this is something that doesn't come with the Flockbox, but is available. He makes the jack available for you to plug one in, and I'm using a 12-volt DC. I'm out on the track right now working from memory. I think it's a 500 milliamp model. Obviously, more milliamps will give you a more powerful circuit into this whole thing. However, it works great for me, and the shocks aren't that bad. I get shocked when I touch the sifter, and I get shocked when I touch the metal plate. The best way to stop this is to pull the plug out of the wall. I learned the hard way. Now, when adding the glue to the grass tufts, I want to test at a later date. I've got a really diluted solution of matte medium, and it's super diluted. And I'm going to test it later to see if it actually sticks enough. I suspect it might. But for the purposes of this review, I'm going to do what everybody else did in the other videos I watched. And I'm going to just kind of lightly dab the glue onto the tops of the tufts. I don't want to embed a whole bunch of glue in the tufts, and I know I did it on a couple of them here. The best way I've found to do this is to use a long bristle brush and dab it on top very lightly, and hopefully that's just all you need to get your static grass to attach to the top of the tufts. Now, while I'm setting this thing up, I want to tell you all the different ways that it can be put together, because this isn't a one-trick pony. The Flockbox allows you to have the sheet, our grass mat sheet, hooked up to the green cable, using the Flockbox itself as a ground, or no, I guess the Flockbox would be the positive, and we got the green cable hooked up to the oh my god, this is a big tongue twister, to the grass mat, and our static grass flies from the Flockbox onto your grass mat. So that's kind of like the upside down route. Another option is to do the sieve like I'm doing in our example. Another example is to use the sieve. Oh, there's so many ways to use this. So you can use a sieve the same way you would use the Notch Grassmaster per se. If you have a small sieve, you'd be able to use smaller areas. I see this Flockbox being perfect with a number of different attachments that you hook up to the ground and go for it. This really is an open architecture of everything that you want, because we get to the point where we're using the Notch Grassmaster, and sure, it'll do certain jobs, especially on your layout, like not on the bench. So the Grassmaster is great for getting into tight places and stuff like that, but if you're working on the bench, this is actually the best. Like, it's like a grass factory, man. A grass factory. What is that, like some kind of Colorado factory or something? I don't know. Once again, we're using a different grass mat here. I spray painted it a dark green, army green, so that it'd be easier to see. I didn't know that the first example would work so well on camera, and now that I'm making the video, I can see that I didn't need to do this part, but I'm gonna do it anyways, because maybe it's easier for some people to see. But as you can see, the static circuit that's created from the Flockbox in your static grass is perfect, and this stuff just flies to where the glue is. So the real trick to making great static grass is to add this glue in a strategic way with a brush. After the fact of doing this little exercise, I realized that, I should be using wet water and not my matte medium solution. Using wet water gives the entire grass mat the circuit that it wants, the static. It jacks it all up, man, so that you can just put your sieve over top and give it some dead growth on top. Be done with it, And there's nothing to say that after you've put one layer of grass on that you can't add more glue with your brush and put another layer on. The thing is that with these grasses, it really does pop up from the layout and doesn't look the most realistic when these are super tall. Even if it is a scale height, the grass can look too tall still. And I think that's because historically we've never had layouts that had grass that came up from the ground. God forbid anybody would have to cut a HO scale lawn. But now we've got to consider that kind of stuff. Damn modernists. Getting these tufts on the layout is pretty easy. The part that's hard is kind of making it so that everything doesn't look like it's man-made, randomness. We're putting grass where people don't walk, So, you know, sometimes it's, you know, underneath the dock or just to the side of the dock. We don't want grass to be right beside where people are, because we don't want the grass to challenge their height. There's lots of things to consider when putting these grasses on the layout. And what I do to attach them on is to use my thinnest glue, my scenic glue. I put a little drop on the bottom of my grass, and I know my scenic glue is really watery, but I put it down, and then I add some wet water to the top of it to get that water to penetrate the whole grass tuft. I don't want glue to penetrate the whole grass tuft. I just want the glue to be on the bottom of it and the wet water to make that travel in between the two. So it's pretty easy to attach the stuff. Glue work is a challenge to understand, and really something that you don't get until you have done it time and time again and have learned where the skeletons are in the whole process. Because sometimes you have to put more dirt down because you just screwed it up, man. And that's something that we should all learn. Well, that's another show. Thank you for watching, guys. This is the Flockbox, available at warpainter.net. Is a real quality product. It comes from the UK, and I really haven't seen anything like it in our hobby. So check it out. Hi, Rosie. How you doing, Rosie?